Hello, fabulous lawyers. Claudia here. Today's video is about the 3 things that you need to build a scalable law firm. Now, before I get into the detail, let me talk about the definition of the term scalable law firm. So this means different things to different people, and in fact, the term scalable law firm means something different to me now than it did some years ago. So now I believe a scalable law firm is a business, a law firm that is simple to run. It is highly profitable. It helps you attract and keep amazing, ideal clients for years. And it's a law firm that's actually enjoyable for you as the law firm owner. It brings you great joy to run this business because this law firm is built around your life rather than the opposite, having your life sort of built in around this law firm. So the reason why this topic is sort of on my heart or close to my heart this week is that last week I took a couple of days out of the day-to-day of my business, and I booked some gorgeous accommodation that overlooked the bush and a river. I booked it for a couple of nights, and I went to this little sort of one-person retreat with the purpose of thinking about where I want my business to be in 5 years. This is something I like to think about regularly, and it's important that we keep revisiting it because as we evolve, things change, and so we need to keep revisiting this question. And so I took 2 days out, and I really just sort of shut myself away in a room with a beautiful view to think. And one of the things I really like to do when I'm thinking about where I want my business to be and what I want my life to look like is thinking about my ideal day, my perfect day, which is a day that I would be absolutely thrilled to live over and over and over again. And so when you do the perfect day exercise, you may have done it, but it's really about thinking about your day right from the start of the day. So how do you wake up? Where do you wake up? Who do you wake up with? What do you do when you first wake up? And then you sort of progress through the day, really outlining the activities that you do and how you feel while you're doing them and what your thought process is as you're doing these things. And as I was mapping out and journaling about my ideal day, one thing I realized is that when it got to the part of my day where I begin my work, what I noticed was that the work that I was doing was for a very specific type of client. So obviously I work with law firm owners. I love working with law firm owners. I've been doing it for the last nearly 6 years. And what I realized when I was doing my ideal day exercise was that there is a specific type of law firm owner that I absolutely love working with, collaborating with, creating products and services for. There's a specific type of law firm owner that I like sharing my ideas with to help make their lives better. And it really reminded me how important it is to be really, really clear about who your ideal client is, and that really there can only ever be one ideal client. And as soon as you start expanding your focus and making your ideal client less clear, then the less focused my business becomes and the less enjoyable it becomes. And so this was a really great realization for me because it's made me realize I really need to bring my focus back to my key perfect fit ideal client to make sure that every idea and product that I am creating for my ideal client is of incredibly high value because it is specifically created and put into the world to add value to them. So that's what spurred me to create this video today. And so the 3 things that you need to build a scalable law firm all really center around the ideal client. So the first thing that you need to build a scalable law firm is that you need to be really clear on the problem that you solve and who you solve it for. So getting really clear on the problem is it's really twofold. In that there is the surface problem, and then there is sort of the core underlying problem or problems that your client has. And when you can explain the surface problem and the core problem that your ideal client has better than they can, then you become the expert. So let me give you an example of what I mean by the surface problem and the core problem. So say you're a family lawyer and you help your clients who are going through separation. And so your client, their surface problem is that they are separating from their partner. But their core problem is that they are incredibly anxious and scared and worried about who's going to pay the mortgage going forward, and what's going to happen to their financial situation, what's going to happen to the savings in their bank account and their investments, what's going to happen to their children, how is the care of the children going to happen from now on? How do you co-parent? How do you manage that relationship? Perhaps they are incredibly fearful of their own safety. So those are some examples of sort of the core problems underlying the surface problem. And when you can explain the surface problem as well as explaining the core problem, and when you can explain those and identify them and speak about them in a way that that is clearer and better than your ideal client can explain them themselves, then you become the expert. So that's the first thing you need. You need to get really clear on the problem that you solve and who you solve it for. The second thing you need to build a scalable firm is you need to become known as the person or the lawyer who can solve that problem for them. And so, yes, there's a whole marketing angle to that with, how do you get yourself out there in terms of funnels and ads and things like that. But that's not really what I'm talking about here. To become known as the person that can solve that problem, you need to create a brand around that. And the best way to create a brand around that is you need two things. First is you yourself, you need to deeply care about your ideal client and the problem that they have. You need to deeply care about it. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, I've got a law firm and I do a certain type of law, but I don't deeply care about what I'm doing, then I would suggest that you've possibly got the wrong business, or you may not have a business there that you're going to be able to grow and scale in the way that you want to. But when you deeply care about your client's problem and the way that you can solve it, then that forms the basis for a really incredible brand that you can use to grow your law firm in a scalable way. So that's number two. You need to become known as the person who can solve that problem. And so once you've figured out, why you are the right person to solve that problem for them, and why you so deeply care about solving this problem for your ideal client, then you can start talking about that on video, on social media, writing blogs about it, and use that content and that passion and that deep care that you have for helping your ideal client in that way. You can use that to help you get more of those types of clients. And there are some people who do this so well in the legal industry, and I'll just name a couple of them for you as examples. So one is Amy Sanders Robbins, who is a family lawyer in Queensland. She's got a family law firm called Bespoke Family Law. Now, if you go and have a look at Amy's social media, if you go and have a look at her Instagram and her Facebook and her website, you can see that Amy deeply cares about helping her clients with separation, because not only does she identify the core, the surface problem, but she very, very eloquently explains to people what the core problem is. And I know this myself because I recently went through a separation and a divorce, and reading Amy's content was of huge value to me, as somebody who was experiencing all the feels that go along with separation. Her content was incredible. It really spoke to the core things that I was deeply worried about. So that's one example. Another example, another family lawyer, is Cassandra Kalpaxis from Kalpaxis Legal in Sydney. Again, Cassandra does a great job of getting through to the core problems that her ideal client are experiencing, and she does a really great job of explaining those. Another person who does this incredibly well is Riz from Found Legal in Queensland. And Riz, she helps like online course creators, entrepreneurs, creatives. I think her tagline is uh, she helps them make sure that their businesses are legally legit. And all Riz's content just shows how deeply she cares about the challenges, the core challenges that those types of entrepreneurs and business owners face on a daily basis. So, and they've all become known as people who can solve the problems that their ideal clients have. So go and check them out. So that's the second thing you need. So you need to become known as the person who can solve your client's problem. And to do that, you need to deeply care about the problem. And then the third thing that you need to build a scalable firm is you need to create guardrails around your business so that you don't take on clients who are not your ideal clients, because we all fall into the trap of feeling a bit scarce, that maybe cash flow will be tight this month, and that you need to take on clients who are perhaps not your best fit clients, but you need the money. So you need to create guardrails for your law firm so that you don't end up taking on clients who are not a perfect fit client. And because your perfect fit clients are the clients that you do your best work for. They are the clients that you're going to get amazing results for. They are going to be the clients that fit nicely into the processes and systems that you've set up in your law firm. They're going to be the clients who stay for years because you can you provide such an incredible service for them. And they're the clients who are going to help you feel good and help your business grow, because they'll help make it enjoyable for you. So it's important that you put up guardrails to stop you from taking on clients who are not your ideal clients. And one of the best ways to do that, I mean, there are a number of ways that you can do this, but one of the best ways to do this is that you have qualifying questions before you take on an ideal client. And the qualifying questions will depend on who your ideal client is and what are the characteristics that your ideal client has. But coming up with a list of questions to help you identify whether somebody is your ideal client or not will be a really important way of making sure that you have standards around the types of clients that you will work with, to ensure that you're only doing your best work and adding value at every step. So that's number 3, adding guardrails to your law firm or to your firm so that you don't take on clients who are not a perfect fit for you. And I'll just give you a quick example of this just to kind of highlight it. When I had my law firm, I had an online conveyancing service, and part of that was that we worked, we had an online dashboard, and we served all our clients through that. And when I first started this online conveyancing service, we would attract first home buyers that were not particularly tech savvy, and they would struggle with doing basic things like uploading a document. And obviously, if we're working with them online, we need them to be able to upload documents. So So over time, we created a list of characteristics of our ideal clients. So the first home, not only were they a first home buyer, but they had to be tech savvy. They had to be able to upload a document. So we came up with a complete list of our ideal clients' characteristics, and we made that clear before they engaged us. And then we also, asked that as part of the onboarding process to ensure that they met that criteria. Because otherwise, my team would end up spending so much time with them, sharing screens, showing them how to upload documents, showing them how to just do basic things that we needed them to just know how to do to ensure that our systems were streamlined and that our services were profitable and were adding value to the client. So so that's number 3. You need to create guardrails around your firm so that you don't take on clients that don't fit your ideal client profile. So there you have it, peeps. Those are the 3 must-haves for building a scalable law firm. I hope this was of value to you, and I will see you in my next video. All right, bye.